Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Our patient today is a 2014 WRX Subaru Impreza STI, right? And that is the patient that we had before that had didn't read a CAN, right? No CAN communication. Afterwards, after I recorded the video and did all the analysis, I found out from the customer that it's came to be during the tuning. So the flash was being written and possibly some issue during that process, and that corrupted the bootloader. That's why the ECM was electrically fine but wouldn't communicate over CAN. So what we figured, we're gonna clone that ECM to the new one. Well, new one, the used one of eBay. However, the original one is 740. This one, we replaced it with this one, 741. As far as I know, as far as everybody tells me, they are replaceable, and I don't see any differences on them. So that's what I did, but when you connect to using OBD, using CAN, you read the VIN and the VIN is empty. Now that usually happens when you screw up the soldering of the EEPROM, or the EEPROM is broken, or the chip is flipped, the orientation is wrong. Happens, I guess, because that's what others told me to check, but obviously I wouldn't make that mistake, especially since on these boards, on Subaru boards, the pin number 1 is always marked. On other boards, usually it's not, or it kind of depends, but on Toyotas, you have no markings, no nothing. Subaru boards are well marked, so it's very unlikely to make that mistake. Plus, the ground is, so the top left or the first pin is chip select, and the bottom right is ground. So you can immediately see that you flipped it, because where the CS goes. Let me show you. Right, so CS is here, right? It's gonna be pulled up by the resistor, and this is the pin that goes to MCU. That pulls it low. If you pull it low, that's when the chip is going to start communicating. And we have input, output, and clock, input, and CS, clock, input, output, right? All on one side. And V plus, V minus, and 2 configuration pins. So, what is going on? I tried many different chips. I tried different. I even replaced. Took the chip from the Outback to this one just to see what happens. But the VIN is at the same offset on all of them, as far as I can tell. So, and even if it wasn't, even if it was off by few bytes, you would still read some nonsense, right? It wouldn't be null, and we're reading null. So what I did is I took my mighty multimeter, I put it in the diode mode, and started probing. So I know what the voltage drop should be. So this is the ground, right? And this is our CS pin. And the voltage drop is 0.78, 0.79. That's correct. This one, the clock, same thing, 0.78, 0.79, right? This one, on the other hand, is showing us 0.47, so about half of that. And this one also 0.8, which is fine. So I compared that to pretty much all the 50 ECMs that I have, just to be sure, and every single one is reading 0.75, 0.78, 0.8 on all those 4 pins over here. Only this one is reading half on this pin. This pin on the other, however, is the input, right? So if there was an issue here, we would expect it that the MCU still can read the EEPROM, but it cannot write it. But we can't be sure of that. This, on the other, well, not on the other hand. So a little more background story on this one. And this one was removed from some, junkyard, from some junky car. And when I inspected it, I noticed that this chip was desoldered, it was taken off and put back. There was also no conformal coating on the chip. So it looks like the chip itself has been replaced. Why would you replace the chip on it? I think there's only one reason. Because you couldn't read the other chip, so you replaced the chip to eliminate the chip being the fault, right? So probably that's what they did. They put the different chip, it still wouldn't read, so the car went to the junkyard, and on the junkyard, it's not like when they remove the parts from the car, it's not like they're testing them. It's, you're buying a cheap part from the junk car, right? So this one, it communicates. You can read the codes. You can read, all the stuff that comes from the flash memory, but nothing from the EEPROM. And this is not even the issue that we can't program the VIN to it. Because that's only problem number one. But this particular car also stores the camshaft angles, positions in the EEPROM, right? So it's kind of necessary for that EEPROM to be there for the car to even run. Obviously, you won't be able to start the car if the VIN is mismatched, right? So this one, right now, it has no EEPROM on it, right? So it behaves exactly the same. You can read the codes, you can read all the diagnostic data and all that, everything from the flash. But if you read the VIN, you get null, right? So that confirms, in my book, that confirms that the board is faulty, the ECM is faulty. I did a thorough visual inspection on it. I don't see anything suspicious. I expected that perhaps one of the caps is shorted, right? Maybe during the removal or something, it got hit, and that's what's causing the issue. But no shorts. Under the thermal camera, everything looks okay. Nothing's heating up. It's perfectly, electrically working device, but for some reason, the MCU does not read the EEPROM. And I did confirm that it tries to, at least on the CS pin, right? I don't do the measurements on the data pins, right? This one and this one. No, that's a clock. We do get clock, and these are the input-output pins. I don't do measurements on these because SPI is a shared bus. So our signal on these is only relevant when this is low. So what I do is I always check the waveform on the CS, right? If it goes low, there you go. That at least the MCU is trying to read the chip. This is only 2 kilobytes of data, so it really takes a really fraction of a second to read it. But it's, for some reason, we're just receiving nulls. And yes, I checked multiple chips just to eliminate that the chip is not faulty. I checked the soldering many times. Normally I don't struggle with soldering, but in this case, if it doesn't work, then I immediately start blaming myself, like what did I do wrong, because usually that's what it is, right? Faulty soldering, faulty wire, something I did wrong. But I've been sitting on this one for hours, and I eliminated everything that I could think of, and at this point it's a faulty ECM. I just wanted to share with you guys this because that's the first. I ordered another one, and hopefully we can return this one. I don't know how much, because the customer bought this one. I don't know how much he paid, but hopefully we can return this one, and with the description that it is faulty. It doesn't read. Even, as I said, even if because I'm still waiting for the clean EEPROM for this board. I should receive it soon. But at this point, I really don't think that it's the issue of the data of the EEPROM, because I would expect garbage data if there was an issue with the EEPROM, not just plain null, right? All zeros. So that's why I'm gonna just call this a faulty ECM, and we're gonna have to wait for another ECM to try this again. This case is really it's really tough. This particular ECM like really doesn't like me. Really doesn't like me. But we're gonna get this fixed, no worries. Either way, we're gonna finally, at the end of the day, we're gonna get it fixed. That's we're not gonna give up. But some days are like that, and some jobs are like that, and it's just part of this business. Well, anyways, short video today, and no optimistic conclusion to it, but what are you gonna do? Thank you guys very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.